And in Germany, it would bring in an additional 4 billion marks, and it would also reduce the flow of immigration from developing countries into Germany. This question is part of the German effort to help the Commonwealth, and was also related to Ukrainian President Kravchuk's invitation to Germans to resettle there. Similar measures are also being taken by the mayors of Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kaliningrad region. Today in Yugoslavia, the first group of Swedish forces arrived. That's the first group of United Nations peacekeeping forces. The Swedish forces will head for Sarajevo, and they will serve there at the headquarters of the UN forces. Today in the United States, primaries and caucuses are being held in 11 states, mostly in the south of the country. As a result of these elections, 1/3 of all the delegates to the national conventions, which will nominate their presidential candidates, will be elected. The favorite from the Republican Party is the incumbent president, George Bush. The Democrats have a two-way race between Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton and former Senator from Massachusetts, Paul Tsongas.
Son, how you doing?
Mr. Duke, we drove.
Today in Paris, a session opened of the Organization of Economic Development and Cooperation. It was attended by the ministers of science and technology of the member countries. They will discuss developing basic science and technological help to the countries of Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. The 25 member countries will try to prevent brain drain and technology drain from the Soviet Union to the Third World. South African President de Klerk is traveling in 5 cities in Orange Province. He says that a victory by the Conservative Party at the coming referendum would bring a great crisis to South Africa, and he warned about the negative reaction of the world community, which would impose harsh sanctions on South Africa. Today there was an explosion in one of the railroad stations of London. The terrorists, who are probably from the Irish Republican Army, had warned the police that there would be an explosion. No one was hurt, but railroad traffic was stopped. The police are inspecting the area because they suspect there are more explosives there. Today, China, which is the largest country in the world in population, is undergoing an economic boom, but there are employment problems. The Chinese press reported today that 100 million rural residents are unemployed. This situation forces them to enter the cities looking for work. They can do that now. 10 years ago, a peasant, in order to purchase a railroad ticket, required special permission from the authorities. The talents of Russia's young diplomats are being expressed by the fact that the issue of extradition of former German leader Erich Honecker is not being raised. The Germans are dealing with this issue directly with the Chileans. The Chilean ambassador said the question would be resolved no later than Wednesday. In Bonn, President Yeltsin said he supported Honecker's extradition to Germany. Germany even sent a special airplane to pick him up. In Berlin, a court would determine his punishment. This means that Honecker may have a chance to avoid prison and remain free at least until his trial. Lawyers believe he may have a chance of remaining in Moscow. A member of the Federal Constitutional Court, Mr. Hirsch, agreed to be Mr. Honecker's lawyer. His defense will claim that Honecker was the leader of a sovereign state, respected and recognized by leaders of other states, including Helmut Schmidt and Helmut Kohl. He said that they and other world leaders could also be accused of participation in similar activities. No one from the former East German leadership has been given harsh punishment, only symbolic sentences so far. Honecker could be acquitted entirely or given a light sentence. but most believe that after the trials of the border guards, the leader of the former East German state could not be left entirely unpunished. However, the situation is bringing continuing tension to the relations between the sides in the conflict. Even the most superficial observer knows that the Commonwealth countries' residents are used to obtaining information from the entire former Soviet Union. As a member of Channel 1 television, I will not agitate for a unified information space for a long time, but many viewers are concerned with the cessation of broadcasting from Channel 1 and Mayak Radio in their areas. This studio on the local level has stopped broadcast of the most popular programs on Channel 1 and Mayak Radio. An alternative television company from Kharkov is broadcasting here in this part of Ukraine instead. Many viewers are protesting and calling to the studios, demanding to know why their favorite shows are not being shown and expressing their right to choose. I believe that our relationships with the Ostankino television channels should be worked out. Channel 1 is now occupied by Ukrainian television, the TV of the sovereign state, so local television has no channel left. I think we can begin showing central television once we give space to local television. Of course, the changes in our state structure require changes in broadcasting, but many viewers and listeners have the right to their wishes as well. Many people see Channel 1 television as the only remaining link between the former Soviet republics. For decades, literally, I've been listening to Mayak Radio and watching Ostankino Channel 1. Therefore, for me, this is a great loss. Perhaps it's premature to talk about loss because there is still a possibility that broadcasting of Channel 1 and Mayak Radio will be restored. In Hungary, funds are being collected to finance the broadcasts of Channel 1 television from Moscow. Hungary has not seen our broadcasts since March 5th. Citizens have decided to try to collect the necessary funds themselves. This report from Tartas should be a hint to the Commonwealth countries' residents who may decide to contribute to television themselves. Good night. MMM means lowest prices in rubles and a guarantee against any defects. Today, buying goods from MMM is always a good buy. Good evening. Problems in sports are often connected with political issues, but one thing is clear today: the unified team at our Winter Olympics performed very strongly. In Lausanne, the International Olympic Committee is meeting. Today, our correspondent sent us a report specially for this broadcast. As you already know, 12 former Soviet republics have been given provisional membership in the IOC, but the athletes of these states will perform as a unified team in the Summer Games in Barcelona. This will definitely mean great successes for our team. We remind you that at the International Chess Tournament in Les Arras, Timon beat Spielman, Lyubovich and Gelfand played to a draw. With 3 more rounds to go, Kasparov leads with 7.5 points, Belyavsky, Timon and Karpov have 6 points, and Ivanchuk has 5.5. Now back to winter sports events. We are nearing the end of the country's championship in hockey. The torpedo teams from Ust-Kamenogorsk and Nizhny Novgorod played to a 3-3 tie. Dynamo Moscow team played Khimik. There was no score in the first period because of the great efforts of the Moscow goalie Stolinkov. But in the second period, Dynamo scored 3 pretty goals by Kovalov, Sorokin and Kamiensky. The third program will be shown tonight on the evening program. I am so happy now. Thank you very much. I go to the stadiums often. In the trade union for many years I've worked as a volunteer coach. I can't live without this. These words of thanks are so nice to hear from people who many of us have forgotten. The Charity Fitness and Health Foundation, along with the Optim Torg company, has given a lifelong pension to these 10 great former athletes. They deserve it. In civilized society, old people and children should be privileged classes because young people can fend for themselves and work. But these are people who selflessly gave everything they had to the people and to sports. The International Book Fair will be held 15th to 17th of April. The initiators are the Germes Company, the publisher Terra, Intersoglosia. They invite publishers to present their works here in Don region, and they guarantee commercial success. The weather forecast for tomorrow in Murmansk Oblast, 1 to 6